Top of the morning to you. Jeff here. So, having a little coffee. Thought I would do a quick contest video. Another quick contest video. Patrick over at the Vinyl Archivist is having a contest. I think he said it was his first contest. And if you're not familiar with Patrick over there, go check him out. I'll have a link below. He's been, according to him, has been watching vinyl community stuff for years, since like 2011. So that definitely predates me. And has only recently, in the past few months, started making videos. I've seen him in a lot of the some of the chats online, group chats and stuff. And so he's been around. He's very knowledgeable. So check out his channel. And he's having a contest called Show Me Your Wallflower, which is basically show me that album that most people don't appreciate that you really do. So that album that most people just bypass, that don't spend enough time, doesn't get enough, credit for what it is or whatever. So anyway, he actually showed one that I've seen by the James Gang, and I knew James Gang, but didn't know the whole story. And now that I know the story behind that album, I've seen it in the wild. I've seen it always in rough shape. So I've never picked it up. I would have picked it up just because I know the band by reputation. So anyway, yeah, it's a neat way to learn, to hear other people talk up an album that maybe you had been one that had kind of poo-pooed it or, pushed it to the side. So that's the game plan here, to show an album like that. Now, when I first thought of this, I thought the first one that came to mind would have been Kiss the Elder. That album has gotten so much hate over the years. And it's an album that I've always really, really, really liked. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's not Kiss. Anyway, I didn't go that way, and I won't go into any talk about that. I didn't go that way for two reasons. First off, I don't yet own it on vinyl, and I wanted to keep this to a vinyl discussion. And so, yeah, if you want to get that from me for Christmas on vinyl, feel free. But anyway, I haven't picked that up yet. And secondly, it seems like in recent decades that album has not hated as much as it used to be, and a lot of people really like it. So maybe it's finally found its way. So what I am going to pick up show is one. So I'm looking through now. I watched Chris Prophy's video on this, and his Wallflower album was Technical Ecstasy by Black Sabbath. So I'm looking through my records, and lo and behold, I hit Black Sabbath's Forbidden, and I thought, you know what? I always hear people hate this album, and I bought this on vinyl not too long ago. Now this is the tail end of the Tony Martin years. So if you know the history of Black Sabbath, you have the Ozzy years, and then Ozzy's gone, and then you've got the Dio years, which is what, 2 albums. And then Dio's gone. Then you bring in Ian Gillan for 1 album, which that's another album that a lot of people don't like, that I think is okay. I like this one better, but anyway, I don't have that one on vinyl either. So you've got that, and I remember when that first came out and we bought it. Hey, wow, Ian Gillan and blah, blah. And it was, when we first heard it, weird. But then you've got this mid-'80s through the '90s where it's all over the place. And you've got Glenn Hughes that comes in and does an album and blah, blah, blah. But then you have Tony Martin coming in, in the late '80s and on into the '90s. But he does a couple albums, and then Dio comes back for Dehumanizer, and you're like, Dio's back, and then Dio's gone after 1 album, and so then you have Tony Martin coming back. And during this time, you got a lot of great players. You got Cozy Powell in the mix. You got Dave Spitz in the mix. It's there's Bob Daisley. You got all kinds of great musicians coming in and out of rotating through this time, and Tony Martin does quite a few albums with them, all of which I really like. This is the last one he does. And then after this, they do the whole Ozzy reunion. So this is 95. They do this album. And then you've got the Ozzy reunion. And then you've got just best of and blah, blah, blah. Ozzy, no new album, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, this is the tail end of the Tony Martin years. And I like his stuff. I like his voice. I'd love to get all the rest of the stuff on vinyl that he's done. That tends to be kind of hard because they're either not pressed or they're really expensive when they are. So yes, I appreciate it. I listened to when I first bought this on vinyl a couple months ago, had it cranking, and I just thought, man, there's some great tracks on here. I think, as with other albums that people tend to look down on, but people they want to compare it to previous work or whatever, and I think a lot of people look at it that way. It's not as good as this. And yeah, sure, I could say this is not as good as this album or not as good as that album in the Black Sabbath collection. But as a whole, as an album on its own, I think it's really good. It is where the band was at that time, and I appreciate what they did. I don't find it. It didn't. It's not like it's a major change in sound. They didn't go all of a sudden industrial pop, K-pop. They didn't change to like country. It's got lots of riffs. It's just a solid metal album. I think it's great. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna claim this as my Wallflower. I appreciate it. I am gonna go back. I think I agree. Chris Brophy was talking about technical ecstasy, and I do have that, not on vinyl, but I have that, and I can't say I listen to it a lot. So it's neat. I want to go back and revisit some of these albums that I see people talking about. That's what's nice about, I think, about the vinyl community, is you get to see somebody else's love for something that maybe you've never given much love for or even consideration for. And it always spawns me to take action to at least look them up. I'll pull up on YouTube and check out a video, or pull them up on Spotify or whatever, and give them another listen. And that is how you can discover lots of great music, is you're like, well, so-and-so really, really liked that album. There's got to be something to it, because so-and-so's got pretty good taste in music usually. And so then I'll go out and research that. And it broadens, my horizons all the time. Now, in this case, Patrick is giving away for this contest a Coltrane album. And I don't have any of his stuff. And that's an era of jazz. I'm more into big band jazz and traditional and more contemporary jazz, all of which is instrumental. And then you've got that whole jazz, the Coltrane years and all that stuff. And you've got singers and all kinds of stuff in there that I've never tapped into that. So I'm interested to win this, because that would be opening the door into an area that I see those albums, I see the reissues, and I want to buy them, but then I'm like hesitant to spend the money on something, because that's not usually my era. But if I could get some of those, if I find those in the wad for really cheap, or if I can get some as a gift or whatever, it would be a good way to open that door. So I'm going for it. Thanks for watching. That's all for now. Rock on.